What's happening, man?
Not
Sorry,
much,
what's
not
up?
much. It's all good. It's all good. I mean, a few days' notice. I tried to line it up yesterday, but we're joined now by former two division champ at one championship, Martin Nguyen. Thanks for joining me today, buddy.
Thank you for your time.
I know a lot of people know, obviously, two division champion. North American people might not get a glimpse of that kind of stuff because one championship tough to find oftentimes in the United States or Canada or whatnot, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Bleacher Report or wherever it is. It's coming to TNT now. You've got a fight coming up, but I want to go way back. Like I want to go back to the beginning of your days, coming up through childhood, get to know you a little better rather than just talking mixed martial arts. So talk me through your young years, like as a child growing up in Australia. What was life like for you as a kid?
Um, I was living the Australian dream. My parents had just escaped uh, Vietnam War, and they established themselves in Sydney, Australia. And they wanted me to grow up, like every other parent would want their child to grow up, carefree. Um, I had the best people around me who made me the person I am today. And so, in saying that, man, I take life as it comes. I had a very great childhood, nothing too drastic. Injuries here and there throughout sports, but other than that, I can't complain.
I read that rugby was your sport of choice growing up. Did you play other stuff?
Yeah, I'm more of an athletic person, so I did a little bit of track and field, just a bit of athletics. But in terms of rugby, that was my go-to bread and butter. That's man, I live and breathe everything rugby league, and made it to representative level. Unfortunately, injury had forced me out of the competition. It was just too hard at the time on my body.
What was the injury?
It was like for 2 years, 2.5 years straight. I was dislocating my right shoulder,
Oh
and it
man.
even came to yeah, I had, and I was young and naive, and so when I was given the option of surgery, I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna have surgery. It's gonna take my they're gonna take my arm off or something like. I didn't know what they were gonna do, and so I neglected the surgery and the treatment that was available for myself, and I just focused on self rehab. But yeah, dislocated shoulder. It was like very bad at the point where I would go to sleep and then I would wake up and it'll be dislocated, and then I'd have to roll, and move my shoulder around, and then it would just pop back in, and then I'd have to sleep in a certain position. It was terrible. Uh, and yeah, just another just like a sprained knee, maybe a meniscus thing that I had that pulled the final string. So
Do you still feel the shoulder at all today?
no, from 21 when I started Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, it has never been dislocated. I'm sure my mobility is the worst it's ever been. So my shoulder mobility is like I can't bend like past that. Where this one I can go all the way back, and so
Don't tell guys
they're
that. No, Americanas and Kimuras, man.
I don't really care, man. I don't really care.
So, talk about the transition from rugby, the injuries, into progressing into MMA, and you said you started with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, so I started with Jiu Jitsu, and thankfully enough, it kind of worked in my favor in terms of takedowns and top pressure. That's what we used to do in rugby, tackling, keep tackling and driving with that pressure. So in hand, it worked well. The only thing I was only lacking basically is the cardio and the technique in my movements in terms of hip escapes and all that, and my flexibility. But yeah, I was like a sponge, man. Like as soon as I started jiu-jitsu, I just wanted to learn and learn and learn and progress as fast as I can. And yeah, and the rest is history.
So, you started jiu-jitsu at 21. When did you compete first?
Actually, I started training jiu-jitsu at about the start of my 20, when I
Okay.
was 20. Yeah, and I started my mixed martial arts career at 21.
And did you compete jiu-jitsu like right off the hop, or was it something that you didn't think to do?
There was just my first ever white belt competition. It was under, I think it was like Gracie Baja or Gracie Himata.
Hey, that's who
New
I was with as a white belt.
So it was like a New South Wales, like the nationwide BJJ Opens, and so I did my first ever competition. I had my wife there next to me and my team, and I actually came third. But the guy that I lost to, um, it was my mistake because I had like four fights before that, four rolls before that, and my fourth roll was I was just so gassed, and I was just like, my wife gave me a Gatorade bottle, freshly Gatorade bottle, Powerade Gatorade, and I sculled the whole thing. I drank the whole thing, and then the moment the last drop went into my mouth, they were calling my name for my next match.
Oh
And so
no.
like, yeah, cool, cool. So I took this guy down, and then he swept me, and then all he did was literally he had my gi, and then he just put it lightly over here, just a transition, and I threw up.
Oh
And yeah,
man, too much Gatorade.
I quickly tapped, and he was like, "What happened?" Like that, and then I ran off the mats and I threw up into the trash can. So yeah,
Do you watch how much
I,
liquid you put in your body now?
dude, it was like now, whenever it comes to training, I rarely drink water. I rarely drink anything until after practice now. So I had, but that moment that happened to me, I always have coaches come up to me, "Here, you want a bit of water?" I was like, "No, water's a luxury, man. I'll drink that after." Yeah, it was that moment where I drank, it was like 500 mils of Gatorade, and then my name was called out, and I was all bloated, and lactic acid built up, and everything. Yeah, it was a surreal moment. Crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. So your first few fights were under regional promotions. You then got signed to one championship. What was that moment like? How did you hear about it? What was the signing like? And what were the thoughts going through your head, man?
Dude, those 2 months, I remember clearly because I'd started my professional mixed martial arts career at the start when I was 21. So within the 10 months of when I signed to when I started, I had two pro MMA fights, and then so there was a promotion called Brace MMA in
Yeah.
Sydney, and the featherweight champion, who was I think it was Nick Honstein, he moved back to America and he couldn't defend the title, and so we were fighting for the vacant title. The guy that he was meant to fight, Luke Standing, was a promising standout at the time. He prepared two camps for Nick, and both fights fell through. And so when they had offered me the title fight um, for the featherweight title against Luke Standing, I think it was a 4 or 5-0 at the time. I was like, you know what? I'm only 2-0, but I'll take the fight. I went 8-0 as an amateur. So in terms of cage time, I was pretty familiar with it, and so I took the fight at 2-0 for the Brace featherweight title. And little did I know that fight, um, Brace had signed an affiliate with One Championship, and the winner of that fight, no one knew the winner of that fight got a contract, and I finished that fight first round and was presented the contract, and I was like, this is like international now. Like I've only been doing this for 10 months or so, and yeah, it's just
That's crazy. What was it like the first time you walked, backstage at one and it must have been surreal.
dude, it was like I didn't know what to expect. It was the international scene. We were flown out to Singapore. I was fighting a guy that I knew nothing about. He was 5-0 at the time. His name was Rocky Batol. We couldn't find him anywhere on the internet. Nothing about it. I was walking into this fight blind. Just had a 3 week camp. I was like a last minute replacement fight. 3 week camp, and yeah, I just took it with open arms. It was probably 10 months before I made my debut after signing. But yeah, as soon as I entered the one championship circle, I was just like, man, this is so surreal. This is where I just felt like I belonged. Uh, yeah,
For sure, and you've had quite the run, as I said, two division champion at one point. Was that always a plan, moving up in different weight classes?
hell no, hell no. Yeah, I was just saying this to somebody. The ultimate goal was to get that title, and I was on somewhat of a streak. I had lost my second fight in one championship was for the title, and that was like I was blown with emotions. I didn't know what to do, what to expect, versing a Russian guy who was like killing everybody basically. And yeah, sure enough, that loss, my first ever loss, made me refocus and recoup to what the levels were and where I needed to be. And so I worked hard. I won my fights. I got the rematch. I did win the title, and we'll say like because I was preparing for that fight, I was very very light in my weight. And so I was like, man, I can go down a weight division. I never really thought of champ status or two division champion or two belts in particular until Connor had done it. And yeah, I was like, man, he done it in one promotion, and I was in another promotion. Um, and yeah, it was just the offer was presented to me, and I was like, it's not like I'm going to say no. I was like, all right. I'll take it with both open hands. And never did I ever think that I'll go up in weight and give my opponent an advantage, but I just did at the time. Though, when opportunity presents itself, you just take it with both hands.
For sure. And is that something? Do you still want to do that?
It's for me, I've been there, done that. Like it doesn't motivate me to get back in there. What motivates me is just being able to win and provide for my family. That's the main thing.
That is what you are. I notice on your Instagram, it's a lot of family stuff, whether it's stories of your kids or you saying your youngest daughter is your best friend and she's going to school and stuff. Talk about what family means to you, man, because like it looks like they're your everything, and fighting is obviously a means for the family. Just talk about providing for them and what they mean to you.
Yeah, man. Like my family means everything to me. This is who makes me the man I am today. Anyone can say that they fight there for the family, but I traditionally do. I'm doing something that I love and that I'm good at to be able to put food on the table for them. I use them as motivation. How I use that as motivation, I spend 8 weeks abroad, 2 or 3 times a year, away from them to be able to provide for them. It doesn't make sense, but in a way, it does make sense. And yeah, so my kids are growing up fast, which they all do. Every kid grows up fast, and I miss out on these moments. And thank God for technology. I get to speak to them. I get to still FaceTime them and everything, but it's time away. I can never make up for it. And so in saying that, I'll always try to do my best, all or nothing, to provide.
100%. Now you speak of being abroad, 2 or 3 times a year. You are in Florida, Sanford MMA. How did that come about? Like that team sort of just blew up out of nowhere. Guys are winning championships. Guys are all over the place. It's insane to see the roster that Sanford MMA has now. Obviously, a bunch of guys from one have made the trip. I noticed yourself and a few other fellas out there from the promotion. Talk about how you made the transition into Florida and Sanford MMA.
Yeah, so in saying that, I was training out of a small gym in Liverpool, in Sydney, Australia, my whole career, and I thought like because I had won two titles out of this gym, I didn't need anything extra, but I felt like I was kind of trapped. I just did enough for the fight, which wasn't good enough. I wanted to be better. I felt like I needed to get better. The competition was getting better, and I was being left behind. And I was invited by my friend Angla and Coach Henry to come over for a camp. And that was out of my comfort zone because I was leaving my family. I'm not used to being apart from my family. And so my wife pushed me out of the circle. My coach at the time pushed me, Kreiser pushed me out of the circle as well. And yeah, I just never looked back since. The room is full of killers, crazy experience. The best people around you who want the best for you and push you every day to be a better person in general, a better athlete. So
And kids there as well.
yeah, I got Angla's daughter here next to me.
Nice. Now, obviously, talking about your last performance, I watched an interview with you and John Hyun Ko on SCMP MMA. They talked to you post fight in December. Obviously, that fight didn't go your way. A third round TKO loss, but you looked great up until that point. Like you were dictating the pace, you were pushing forward, not revolving backwards. Thinking back to that fight, I know Pete, you've said that you learn the most from your losses. Do you still feel that way? And is it a fight that you'd like to run back, even if he's not, say, the champion?
Most definitely, man. Like regardless of running back the fight or not, it's a fight that um, you do learn the most out of it when it comes to a loss. And when it comes to that fight in particular, man, the amount of times I've counted how many things have gone wrong, it did. And saying that, I just gotta take it as it comes. The guy came, done his thing, and he won. He now holds the title, and he's doing his thing. So For me, I just got to focus on myself, recoup, and do whatever I need to do to keep winning. And eventually, I know we'll cross paths. And when we do, it will be a different fight.
Now, also in that interview, they spoke of your upcoming opponent, Jae-Woon Kim, and it was him calling you out at that point. You said you didn't care about callouts. How did this fight come into fruition? What was it, that call out? Did you want him? How did this one come to play?
I mean, he called me out in one championship, gave me the contract with his name on it. I didn't really respond to call outs or people talking trash or, I've been called out my whole life since I've been at the top, since I've had the title for 3 years. Everyone was calling me out, even people from different promotions. I didn't really care. You can talk, you can say as much as you can, but it doesn't mean anything until your name is on a contract in front of me and I'm signing it. Whatever contract one championship has sent me, I've never denied it. I just kept signing it. And even when I was meant to fight time back in April, I honored, like, realistically, that fight in April fell through because of the whole COVID situation. And in saying that, so that contract was abolished. But I said, man, I put my signature on that contract. I'm not going to fight anyone else until that's that's finished. And yeah, I stuck with that same opponent. Been training for Tan Lee for the whole year, basically, of 2020 and 24.
What's traveling been like with this COVID thing? You said you've done your camp in Florida and whatnot. Are you going straight from Florida to this fight, or are you going home first? What's the plan? Because obviously there's a bit of quarantining process, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I wish that was able to go home and spend the last week with my family before I go out for fight week, and that's what I've been doing my whole career up until the last fight. The whole COVID situation, leaving Australia has been, I'm one of millions that are blessed to be able to leave the country to still do what I'm able to do, like which is train and prepare for a fight. Australia is in lockdown at the moment. No one is allowed in. Basically, the only people that are allowed back to the country are residents. And in saying that, we have to pay money to quarantine in a hotel for 2 weeks. And no one wants to do that. Everyone wants the borders to be open again. But for me, this is my bread and butter. This is what puts food on the table for my family. And so for me, leaving the country, it's a must. And when I have the fight contract in front of me, I have to show the Home Affairs, Australian government, to be exempt and leave the country in order to come into Florida and do my camp.
Makes complete sense. What do you think TNT does for one championship? Do you think it helps grow the eyes of the Americans? Do you think it makes Martin Nguyen a guy that North Americans know a little bit more about?
But yeah, man, TNT, this deal with TNT and one championship is a blessing. We get to showcase the Asian promotion, biggest largest promotion ever in Asia, over to North Americans. Not many people, because of the time difference and everything, really tune in unless you're a diehard fan or you watch like replays of that one championship. But now with TNT, we have a platform, for the North American fans, and when we fight live for them, or just fighting in general, they get to watch it live on TV, like sit back on your lounge and kick back like you're in the crowds.
Definitely. Now it seems like one championship is truly behind you. Like you said, you earned yourself this contract by winning the championship. You've come up through the ranks in the organization. You see on their social media, you're their clothing guy. You're a guy who's really marketable. How did all that come into fruition? Because even as the non-champion at this point, you're still sort of a face of the promotion.
I'm one ugly guy. Nah, one championship, I mean, I've always been a yes man when it comes to fights, and I've always done the right thing. I've always, treated everyone the way they treat me. So I never talk ill about anyone. Um, I only get treated the way people treat me. And so in saying that one championship, um, as I said, I was a yes man. I've done everything right by the books, all the way up into late notice fights or long camp fights. They gave me opportunities. I'm thankful that I'm able to still do this during the COVID time. There's some fighters out there that haven't fought in over 12 months, and for me to fight back in October and now I'm fighting again. To keep doing what I do and putting food on the table for my family, I'm blessed. I feel grateful.
Something I like to ask guys. Well, first off, happy belated birthday. 32 years old now. If you could look back at, say, your 10-year-old self, what's that?
I said 23.
32.
No, I was not 32. No, I am.
If you could look back at your 10-year-old self, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Stop being a menace. Nah, I was a menace for my family. Just stay true to yourself, man. Just stay humble. Just work hard. Stay disciplined. That's the main things.
What are three things that you've brought to Florida with you that you couldn't leave at home behind?
My laptop. I gotta get my gaming in. What else did I bring, man? I brought, yeah, just a normal training gears and that. I just everything that I have is, you know, I don't have anything special to bring with me like
Family
photos and this.
photos, I'm sure.
I have all that in my phone. There's
Exactly,
just
yeah. So your phone.
I brought my phone, yeah, and I brought my I don't know, it's just yeah, my like, things that keep me company, and yeah, I brought coffee. That's what I brought.
What are you
I brought
gaming? What are you playing these days?
Sorry.
What are you playing these days, gaming wise?
Usually I just because I go over the way. I used to play Counter Strike a lot, CS:GO, but now I'm playing Call of Duty Warzone. Just a lot of guys in the gym play it, and I play with them, and also I play with the guys at home as well. It's just a game that everyone it's on the wave. Some people don't like it, but it's what everyone is playing, and so I'm trying to get up and play with the guys.
For sure. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your time. Martin Nguyen takes on Jae Woon Kim. Good luck, man. All the best. TNT North American audience, which is super huge. I appreciate your time again. Just the floor is yours. Let people know where they can find you in the social media universe. Any shout outs, the floor is yours.
Awesome, man. Shout out to my wife for holding her family down while I'm gone. Where you can find me on my social media is it's Martin on Instagram, Martin Nguyen Martin Nguyen MMA on Twitter, and Martin Situation Nguyen on Facebook.
Good luck, man. All the best.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You as well.